Hey everyone, what's going on? Rob from Captain Rob Games here, and we have some awesome news coming out from the Valheim development team. As many of you know, Hearth and Home, the next massive update to come out for Valheim, has been speculated to be towards the end of quarter 3, but we had not been given a release date yet. As of yesterday, the Iron Gate team released a trailer for Hearth and Home. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what you can expect from Hearth and Home, and that's going to be a new combat system, that's going to be new food, we're talking about new building materials, new cosmetics. It's really exciting, and the release date was also announced. That will be September 16th. 2021. So today's date is August 26th. We are talking about, what, 20 days, I think? 20 or 21 days. It's coming right out, so let's get right into what you can expect from this massive patch. Okay, let's start off talking shields. Now, they are going to make some sweeping changes to shields and how they work. First off, the tower shield is going to get a massive buff and become much more viable. This shield, I do not believe you'll be able to parry based on what they have said, but it will be very sturdy and capable of tanking multiple enemies without significant reductions in stamina. This will be a very defensive tool that loses the sort of offensive counter attack component that makes shields very strong in Valheim, but you will not get bullied by multiple enemies. The buckler will then be the sort of specialization of parrying. Parrying will be significantly easier with the buckler, but the defensive capabilities of it will be significantly lower. So this will be more of an offensive high-risk, high-reward shield. And then, of course, the standard shield will serve sort of as the middle ground shield. Now, this is interesting because your shield choice now effectively also determines your combat choice. Essentially, if you want to play very defensively, you'll pick one shield. If you want to play very offensively, you'll pick a different shield, and then you have the more balanced approach. So now, your choices in weaponry is less of a sort of style or aesthetic thing, and it's less of, oh, well, this shield is just weaker than this other shield. It's now, how do I want to play the game? I should craft the appropriate shield based on my desired playstyle. I think that's unique and pretty cool. Now, these combat changes are not just for shields, but they will also be impacted by food. We knew that there were going to be some changes regarding health and stamina, and that your food would sort of determine more if you wanted to play an offensive or defensive role. But what I find to be very interesting is that they are actually changing it so that health will impact how effective you are at blocking as well as how you are staggered. So now running around with just like 25 or 30 HP isn't going to be as easy because your ability to defend yourself will also be decreased. So food is going to be much more of a necessity. Stamina is going to become your offensive damage dealer stat, whereas your health is going to be much more of a defensive stat. Now, this is cool because not only is it going to make you have to think and make decisions about how you want to play based on what food you eat, but this also opens you up to have sort of compositions for your team if you're playing with other players. You might have a person that specializes in the tank role and they eat mostly health food and they play very like tank oriented, try to get the aggro on the enemies, try to be the one that's attacked, and then your sort of weaker teammates that have much less HP and defensive capabilities would be the people who try to kill the enemies. I think this creates a pretty cool aspect and a very interesting way for team play to be incorporated into the game. So this is another change I think is pretty cool, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. Now, a cool side note about this is they did actually say in one of their teaser videos that they have color-coded the food to make it easier to figure out what you should be eating. Now, if it has a red fork, that means it's going to be a health or sort of tanky defensive-based food. If it's yellow, that's going to be an endurance-based food, so that's going to be more offensive capabilities, more useful for building. And if it is, I believe it's a silver fork, that means it's going to be more balanced. It's going to give you a more even spread, but it's not going to specialize heavy in one way or the other. So this will make it pretty easy for you to know what type of food you need to be making and not having to do as much research. In the previous build, it was a lot about actually reading the stats and figuring out, okay, what does this food specialize in? Now it'll be very overt, very obvious, right in your face. You won't have to think too hard about it. You'll just know what you need. Now let's move on and start talking about some of the cool new builds that we can expect in the Hearth and Home update. Now we don't have a lot of information about everything they've added, but they have provided some pictures and a little bit of information, and we can kind of piece things together from there. This picture, for example, will show you the new, I believe this is the new Iron Grate, not to be confused with the Iron Gate, but it's essentially almost a jail cell-esque sort of wall building type thing, similar to what you would see in like a castle's jail cell. And in here you can see there are hordes of golden coins. I believe how this is going to work is there's going to be a treasure chest, and when you put gold in it, it will show a sort of cosmetic surrounding of gold, depending on how much gold you actually have. And I think this will be really cool. Gold doesn't have that many uses in the game right now. It's just for the merchant, and you really only need so much of it. So it'll be cool as they add more uses for gold throughout the game, and now there'll be a better method of storing it. It used to be, I believe it was 999 was the cap, I believe. And it just filled up chests. You didn't really need that much of it. So a better storage mechanism for that. And a very cool aesthetically pleasing way of filling up the ground with your hordes of cash to kind of flex on people about how rich you are in your Valheim server. We will now have this new cool dark wood roof so that we can have a darker color theme to our homes and make them look like they're from sort of a different time period almost. And we will have additions to the cooking stations. Now this will be in line with a lot of the cooking changes in their overhaul that they are doing. They're going to be introducing a lot of new foods to kind of expand cooking a little bit further into the game. And you can see there's a couple new things here that we haven't seen before that look like they are going to be enhancing your cooking station and allowing you to create even more cool foods, which will, again, hopefully emphasize health or stamina to make you offensive or defensive. We have a little preview here. Again, it's hard to tell exactly what everything is, but we know that there are more than 10 new recipes coming in. The ice cream, so ice cream, and a chocolate smoothie, different types of wolf meats. I get made fun of a lot for my mispronunciation of that. Jesus, I can't speak. Anyway, these are some images of what these new foods will look like, and it appears that you'll now be able to set them out on tables. More aesthetically pleasing, easier way to get food than just storing them in your chests. We've also been told that onions will be added to the game. If you're someone like me, every time I cook almost, I put onions in it, so I wouldn't be surprised if there are going to be a large number of recipes that utilize onions. I mean, in real life, I put them in almost everything. So I'm curious what they're going to do with this. They might become a very popular ingredient used in a lot of different recipes. We'll see. And finally, I just wanted to kind of join the speculation team here. There are a lot of people that have noticed that Iron Gate has made a lot of references to horses recently. Travel can be a little bit slow in this game, and we know that the map is massive, and because of the issues of traveling and the lack of rewards for expanding far out, exploration doesn't really have that much of a purpose. It's very time consuming. It doesn't really give you that much of a reward. So would be very interesting to see horses added to the game. That would add a very, very fun way of exploring land much more quickly and a lot less of just spending food running across terrain. So I'm hoping that that ends up being true. They've hinted towards it a lot, but they've also not committed to it. I know they have a small development team that could be a bit of work to add horses to the game. So I'm excited about that. I'm just speculating, but we'll see what happens. That's all I got for you guys today. If you like this kind of content, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time.